Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for 17 News at Noon. I'm Nicole Gitske. We begin with the latest on the coronavirus pandemic here in Kern County. Public Health reports 5 new deaths, along with 182 more people testing positive for COVID-19. Our death toll now stands at 437 since March. Public health officials now say more than 37,000 people have been infected with the virus. 81 people are currently in the hospital. That's up 8 people from yesterday. And as cases continue to rise locally, health officials are concerned about hospital capacity. State models show our local doctors and nurses could have a very busy and stressful few months ahead as hospitalizations are expected to increase. Now, when we first started talking about coronavirus, the phrase flatten the curve was frequently used. Now more than ever, it's important we try and do what we all said at the beginning of this pandemic. We learned from Public Health on Monday that 10% of people in Kern County who tested positive for COVID-19 had to go to the hospital. That's about 3,700 people. About 1,100 of those had to spend time in the ICU. Our worst day for hospitals was on August 2nd when 321 people needed treatment. Local health officials say there are 889 beds available right now, but then additional 59 ICU beds are also available. However, the good news, the county has 14 traveling ICU nurses to help with the strain. Meantime, state leaders say they're more prepared for this increase with more surge bed capacity and more PPE. Well, Pfizer says it is seeking to have its coronavirus vaccine approved within days. This after a final analysis of the vaccine trials suggests it's more effective than previously thought. Pfizer, which developed the vaccine with German partner BioNTech, now says its vaccine is 95% effective, up from 90% announced last week. Among the more than 41,000 people in the trials, the company says there have been no serious side effects, with the most common being fatigue and a headache. Pfizer says it will file within days for an emergency use authorization with the FDA. The news comes days after Moderna, a biotech company based in Massachusetts, said early analysis from its own phase 3 trial suggests its vaccine candidate was 94.5% effective. And there is still free testing to go around, and health experts stress it's important to get a test even if you have no symptoms and aren't feeling sick. And there will be another free test site tomorrow right outside of our news station. It's once again thanks in partnership with the Kern County Latino COVID-19 Task Force as well as the Kern Community College District. It's happening from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. You can find us at 2120 L Street in downtown Bakersfield. Now, if you would like to see a map of all the testing sites in Kern County, as well as instructions on how to sign up, visit KGET.com. And the U.S. Food and Drug Administration has approved emergency use for the first COVID-19 test that can be conducted entirely at home. The nasal swab can provide results within 30 minutes and is for use by anyone aged 14 and over if their healthcare provider suspects they may have COVID-19. The test, created by California-based Health, received emergency use authorization late yesterday. Now, the nasal swab test involves swirling a patient's self-collected sample swab in a vial, which is then placed in a test unit. Results are then made visible on the test's light-up display within 30 minutes. The FDA did not reveal the price of the test. However, the company's website says the test is intended to cost less than $50. This is the first that can be fully self-administered and provided your results right at home. Now, taking a look in your education news, the Greenfield Union School District's Board of Trustees is set to consider a hybrid model reopening plan during its meeting today. If approved, elementary schools would use a AM/PM schedule 4 days a week with distance learning only on Wednesdays. Middle schools would hold in-person classes 2 days a week with the rest of the week reserved for distance learning. The goal is to complete the return of students and staff by January 4th. Meantime, Bakersfield Christian High School is putting a pause on in-person classes after 4 students tested positive for COVID-19. The school sent out a notice to parents saying this is a voluntary pause because the school does not yet meet the requirements for a mandatory closure. The school says students will be distance learning through at least Friday and all athletic practices are canceled until further notice. Now, the campus is open right now until 4 p.m. for students to pick up any materials they may need. The school says they hope to return when Thanksgiving vacation ends. And BC is helping students get creative, showing off their talents at this year's Panorama Creative Music Summit. The Music Summit showcases acclaimed musicians, local performers, BC faculty, students, and alumni, all showing off their musical chops, performing original music from an eclectic range of genres. It kicked off in October, going digital this year like we've all grown accustomed to. Now, today's performance features Scotty Barnhart, jazz trumpeter. You can watch that performance at 4:30 tonight via the BC College Jazz Studies Facebook page. The summit continues with the final performance slated for December 2nd. 17 News is your local election headquarters. And new overnight, the Kern County Elections Office released another batch of election results. We are closely watching all of our local contests, including the race for the 21st Congressional District. Now, as of this morning, Republican David Valadao leads Democratic incumbent TJ Cox by just over 1,800 votes. Now, there are still thousands of votes left to be counted, and the Elections Office has until December 3rd to go through those remaining ballots. 17's Eitan Wallace will take us to the race by race this evening on 17 News at 5. And as we send things back over to Kevin, we saw a gorgeous day yesterday, but today is a different story out there.
Well, we talked about the heat yesterday. Yes, that was a record. Now, you may be wondering, what is our normal temperature this time of year? Well, we should be right around 65, so you can see how dramatic that warm-up was. Our record today was set back in 1926 when we hit 83. No more 80s in place for us, and tonight, as you're going to be out and about, 4:48 will be our sunset, and I think it'll be another beautiful one. We are tracking showers north of us. There's a slight chance of maybe a few of these light showers to push into Kern County. I think it would be north and west of our area. But again, the bulk of this more north, and then it pushes on out. By tomorrow, we'll see clearing skies. 62 in Sacramento today, mid-60s out of Fresno, 60s, lower 70s south. San Diego, 71, 78, so nearing 80 in Las Vegas, near 90 in Phoenix. Take a look at the national forecast. The Pacific Northwest, Northern California, all other areas and parts of the country looking pretty good today. In terms of rain amount, up in the Pacific Northwest, the Oregon coast, possibly inch and a half of rain expected, much lighter amounts heading into California. And temperatures today, 50 in Seattle, Boise, 54. A little warmer as we travel east, 75 in Denver, Oklahoma, 72. Cooler once again out of New York and D.C., where we're in the 40s. Take a look at the air quality today, moderate. Your AQI at 64. And then we take a look at the numbers. No 80s, no 70s, but the 60s. 64 in Bakersfield, Delano 66, 62 out in Taft, a light wind throughout the day. And then for the mountains, we're looking at winds out of the west, 25 to 30, gusting to 60. So another breezy day. No advisories in place right now. 59 in Frazier Park, 55 for the high in Tehachapi, and 60s for the Kern River Valley. Out in the desert, more sunshine here, but also breezy. Winds gusting near 40, high of 67 in Mojave. Here's a look at your extended forecast. We'll keep temperatures in the upper 50s, lower 60s across the board. Starting tomorrow, we'll see clearing skies and then mostly sunny as we approach that weekend. Overnight in the 40s and 50s for the mountains, also clearing skies for you. We're looking mostly sunny if you're making weekend plans. Mid to upper 50s on the temperatures overnight, still into those 20s and 30s. And then for the Kern River Valley, we're looking at 60s throughout the next 7 days and clearing skies for you tomorrow as well. Overnight, still a little chilly into the 30s and 40s, but overall, not a bad forecast. But again, if you're going to be out and about today, a much cooler day than the upper 80s we saw yesterday. We'll send it back over to you.
And there may be some hope on the horizon for youth sports, along with other businesses affected during the pandemic. The City of Bakersfield and the Recreation and Parks Department have created special permits to help indoor businesses operate outdoors. The COVID-19 special use permit will allow churches, gyms, and youth sport associations to operate at parks around town. Businesses can apply for no additional fee. To apply, head to our website, kget.com.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Noon.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.